Howdy there, nerds! This is going to be a bit of a video where it's more of a discussion piece, but before I begin I just want to say thank you to all of those who joined us, for the E3 press conference with Bethesda. We'll be doing more, as the week goes on. We have Monday and Tuesday, which is going to have a lot of exciting things, Sony, Nintendo. Fun stuff. Come join us, why not? And while you're down there in the description, why not check out the Gleam link? That's going to be ending in like 3 days. And that is two $25 gift cards for you in case you want to try your luck at the new banner to get yourself something special. Which, by the way, Kaze is actually a part of this banner in some regard because he's a very interesting unit. And something that I find, hopefully, at least to me, will be something of a, coming thing. Something that will actually be happening a lot more often. Because Kaze is our first ever special unit that was actually added to the summoning pool. Which is something very strange, considering the fact that technically, I guess he was Grand Conquest material. That's where he was born and raised. That's how he actually ended up here, is that technically he was part of that. He was a free character there. Even though, even more technically, he was actually more of a free character from Golden Week. Still, nonetheless, this raises a very interesting question. We've spoken about this before, as time has gone on. Basically, I had a very nice conversation with a person on Twitter by the name of GFlowers, who, GFlowers66, to be more, specific. Basically, we were talking about how, there are a lot of units that have been coming and going via from things like Grand Conquest or Tempest Trials, and, they had a different opinion on things. Basically, I would really love it if IS could do a more specifically with a lot of these Tempest Trial characters, if they could bring them back out like they did with Kaze. Basically, add him to, add something like Tobin or Clive to the 3 and 4 star pool, because technically, they're strong units and they should be more accessible. I feel like this is something that's really good for a lot of people. But the question then becomes, does it mean that they lose their speciality? Like, do they lose that little glimmer of specialness that comes with it when you get them as a reward? And I wanted to pose that question to you guys because it seems like a really odd thing, but it's actually something that I really had a really just interesting conversation with GFlowers. They really liked their Tobin that they made, which, by the way, they made a really awesome one to counter, of course, armored units in Tier 20 Arena, of all things. So yeah, that's a Tobin, alright. But the question I have is, are these units really that special that they need to be hidden behind, or at least kept behind a wall? Because, I do agree that units should be special. I mean, Black Knight was incredibly special when he came out, but certain characters like, Clive, Kaze, Jerome, all of these units are really interesting, but I feel like after a certain point, they don't need to be hidden behind a Tempest Trial or anything like that. They can be added a lot like Kaze. That's why we're talking about him. Because he has such a unique changeover. Like, when someone told me that Kaze was coming out, I was like, oh, he's a free unit. And then when we saw him pop up, this gave me hope that eventually, sometime in the future, when it comes down to what IS needs to do, with a lot of these units like Kaze and Tobin and all these other ones who, barely show up, have not shown up, and since Tempest Trial seems to be going with the current trend of just adding new characters every time, well, the question then becomes, what are we going to do when we actually need them, or when we, want to build them, or we don't have that character, and yet there's no reason for it. Tobin is a good example, I like to think, but it's a very odd conundrum. I don't know if it actually loses speciality, if it's any less special when they're added to the pool. I feel like adding them to a 3 or 4 star pool would be a good idea just to give them more accessibility. There's a lot of people who love, characters like Tobin, like Kaze, and it would just be a lot better for them, especially considering the fact that a lot of the time these Tempest Trial units, they are never going to be seen again, or at least not unless your name is Mass Marth, from what I could tell. And that's just what I'm trying to wonder. Should they add things? Should they follow the example of what Kaze ended up becoming? Or should we continue on this trek of just having units that, only pop up, that makes them special, their scarcity? I would love to hear your opinions in the comments below. Why do I always do that? In the comments below. And I would love to see what your opinions are on it when it comes to it, because I still feel that while the units, yes, they have been rare for a while, it wouldn't be a bad thing, maybe, like, 2 or so months after the Tempest trial to add them to a 4-star pool or 3-star pool, like they did Kaze. That's basically all I'm saying. But, the fun part about it is we can agree, we can disagree, whatever have you, whatever floats your boat. I want to hear your opinions, right now in the comments, guys. This is the Kaze conundrum, and I really want to know what you all think about it. So, shoot me some comments, guys, I want to see it! See you soon, nerds. And again, check out the description for all the fun stuff. See you soon. Bye!